and welcome to my dark coloring channel. This tutorial is going to be about color combinations and how to go about creating them as a beginner. One of my most requested things on my Facebook group that beginners said they needed help with learning was how to make color combinations for their coloring pages. So I decided to put together a tutorial on how I go about picking color combinations. This will be a two-part tutorial. First, I will show you how to create them, and in part 2, I will take those combinations I create to a coloring page and show you how to use them on an item in a page. First, if you like these type of tutorials, it is important to give it a thumbs up so that I know what type of videos to bring to you guys in the near future. If you want to see more dark coloring videos like this one, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribing really helps in supporting my channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when I upload more dark coloring videos. Now let's have some fun and get into this tutorial. So I'm going to show you guys how I go about picking color combinations. I'm going to be using my Arteza pencils for this tutorial. I also made a little worksheet I will be using for this. And of course, my swatch book. So if you have not made a swatch of your pencils, then you need to do that first, because it's a great tool to have when creating color combinations. If you want to know how to create a swatch book, please check out my swatching tutorial, and I will make sure to link it above for those who have not seen it yet. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is look at your swatch book and think about what color combos you want to create. As a beginner, I recommend you start out with creating three color combos. A color for shadow, a mid-tone, and a highlight is all you will need when you first start out. Once you get better at it, you can start adding more colors, but for now, 3 is the basic. So I also made a worksheet, like I said, and we're going to jot down the color combinations that we make as we go along in these boxes, and I'll put the names above the box so we'll know what color is in each box. But first, I'm going to go to my Arteza pencils in my swatch book. And this is the Arteza swatch. And as you can see, there's 120 pencils in this set. And so what you want to do is you just want to see, say for instance, I'm going to start out with green. And you're going to take a look at the colors, and what you want to do is try to pick the colors that go great, that look like they might go great with each other. You want to pick the same colors in the same hue, kind of, to go together. So you always want to pick a dark tone, and then a medium tone, and then a light tone, which is your highlight. And your dark tone is used for your shadows. So since we're going to look at the greens, all the greens are here. And I'm just going to lift it up a little bit just so you guys can see. So I think all the greens start like right about here to down to here. And looking at these greens, I am looking for colors that I think go together. And so I'm going to start with a dark tone, and I'm going to look for a dark green, and I'm looking at this olive green. I think that would be a great dark tone. And I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit first so you guys can see the colors much better. Okay. So if you look at that olive green, it looks like it could be a dark tone. So I'm thinking, okay, if I use this olive green, what color goes with the olive green the best in these greens? And the color that I think goes best with this olive green, I'm looking for a mid-tone color. And that means just a color, a shade down from olive green. So I think that moss green and olive green look like they're in the same hue, because moss green has a little yellow in it, kind of just like the olive green. So, okay, so now I have two colors. I have olive green and moss green. And the lighter color, the lighter shade that I want to use, I need to look for a color in the same hue. Now, I think this matcha green would be a nice highlight, but it's a little too bright for my liking. So, and it doesn't seem like it's that in the same hue. It's almost like an apple green. So I'm not going to pick that one. I think the color that I'm going to pick to go with these two, moss green and this olive green, is this green, pear green. And the reason I say that is because if you look at this pear green and you look at this moss green, it's almost the same hue. It's just a little bit lighter, and that will give it a great highlight. By picking a lighter color, that's going to be your highlight color. So the next step of what I would do, usually if I was doing this in my swatch book, is that I would take, so let me show you an example in my Prismas, how I set that up. So I have combinations already that I've set up in my Prismas. And I'm going to just go to my Prisma page. And on the back of my Prisma page, wait, that's not it. Let me find the Prisma page. Okay, here's the Prisma page. So on the back of my Prisma page, if you look at all the Prisma colors, on the back of it, I have color combinations. So what I would do in my swatch book is, after you have your swatches or your pencils, I usually would write down, I would write a little box, and I would write down the 3 colors that I'm choosing. And then I would color it in the box with the number. So whenever I need a combo, I already have a combo here in my swatch book. So whenever I make up a combo, I save those combos here in my swatch book. But I'm not going to write it in my swatch book today when we make the combos for the Arteza pencils. What I'm actually going to do is write it on a worksheet. So I'm just going to turn the page back to the Artezas. And we're going to look at those greens again. And the color combination that we choose, or that I choose, I'm going to write on my worksheet. And I'm just going to color it in the box here so that you all can see how they go together. So the 3 that I think we have going together so far in the green, we said was olive green, moss green, make sure you can see that, olive green, moss green, and then the next one I said was this pear green. And the reason I chose that is because I like the way this pear green looks more like it's in the same hue as this moss green and this olive green. So let me get those 3 out of my pencil case, and we will make color combinations out of those 3. So I have here the 3 pencils that I picked. And the reason you want to look at your swatch book and look at the colors is because the colors do not look the same on the barrel. If you were to pick your color combinations by just looking off of your barrel, you're going to find that the colors are not the same. Sometimes the barrel color is darker and sometimes it's not. So that's why you go by the colors in your swatch book. Your swatch book is your true color of that pencil. So you want to use your swatch book when picking out your color combinations. So we said that olive green, moss green, and pear green went great together. So I have my dark, which is the moss green. I have my olive green, which is the dark, my moss green, which is the middle, and my pear green, which is my highlight. So we're going to have them in that order. I'm just going to write those 3 names down so that we know what they are. And so let's write the names down. We have olive green, moss green, and pear green. So if I was coloring some leaves or something, or some grass, this would be a great combination for that object on a page. And so this is how you want to go about creating your combos. And so now you want to see how those look together before you actually put them on a page. And so that's why I usually put it in my swatch book. If I like it, I put it in my swatch book. But first I do it on a scrap sheet of paper to see how it looks. And then if I like it, I put it in my swatch book. And I keep it there. Now, I'm going to start off with the olive green. And I'm just going to, you just want to go ahead and put that in the box. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the box. And I want to show you guys how these colors look together. And so I'll go to the other end and put some of the olive green on the other end. And I'm trying to be as quick as possible so that this video does not run too long. But I also want it to look great so you guys can see how the colors look together. So I'm just going to add a little more of that on each side. And this is how you would blend the colors together to see if they blend together great and if they go together great. So you would go in with hard pressure first, and then when you get toward the end, you're going to let up on the pressure and go light pressure. But my first layer, I'm not really going in that hard. I'm just going in kind of soft and just getting that color down. So now I'm going to go to the next color, which is our moss green. And that's our mid-tone color. And I'm just going to start off where I left off. And I'm just going to color right up into that blend line. And add that moss green. And you want to make sure your pencils are sharpened when you're doing this so that you're not getting the dull blade and that the tooth of the paper will catch the pencil color. So I'm just going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And right now we're just laying a light layer of each color. So we're going to build up those colors in a little bit. So right now there's still tooth of the paper showing. And I'm just going to do this until I get as far as I want, until I want to add the next color on both sides. And you can do your scrap sheet of paper however you like. I mean, however you want to test your colors. But do you notice that those one's darker and one's a little lighter? That means that's the middle tone. The darker one is what you're going to use for your shadow and whatever object you're using, whatever object you're coloring for this combination. Now I'm going to move to my highlight, and my highlight is my pear green. So I'm just going to add that highlight right in the middle of there. And you can go up into the other green, which is the moss green, if you like, to blend them together a little more. And so now I'm gonna leave a little bit of a white part in there just so it can have a highlight and it can pop a little. But do you see how the pear green is making those other two greens pop? Now I haven't added all the layers, and I will add all the layers now. And I'm going to go back to the olive green and darken it up some. So when you test out your colors, you want to get some paper that has some tooth. You don't want shiny, glossy paper, because you're not going to get the true how your color actually looks, the true of how it looks if you don't have great paper. And so I'm just darkening up the colors. And what I'm going to do here is just speed up the tape a little bit just so we can go ahead and see how these colors look together. There, so now we have those colors in the box and they look great. So what I would do from here is go ahead and put this color in my swatch book. And this is how you want to make color combinations. It's just basically looking at your swatch book and finding those colors that go together, and also finding a nice highlight color. So let's look again in the swatch book and see what other colors we can find to put together. And so I'm going to get out my swatch book. Okay, so I have my swatch book out again. And I think the next color that combination that we'll try to do is, I was thinking let's do something blue. So let's do a blue. So I'm going to go to the blue section of my swatch book. And if you notice, here's where the blues start, all the way down to, it's still a little bit of blue in this. So I would say from here to here, all the way across. So we again look at the blues and see what blues look like they go together. And I want to pick out a dark tone first. So I'm looking for a dark tone blue first. And I'm looking at the colors, and this ultramarine blue is a dark blue. This Mykonos blue is a nice dark blue. But I like this blueberry blue. So this blueberry blue and this ultramarine blue looks kind of close together. So I'm going to choose this blueberry blue. Now that I've chosen my dark shade, I need a mid-tone. And I need something to go with this blueberry. So we're going to look at the blues and see what color in the blues look like that goes with this blueberry here. And I'm looking at like the deep teal, and the deep teal is like too green. It has a lot of green in it if you look at it. I don't know if you guys can, but the deep teal has a lot of green in it, and it just does not seem like that would go great with blueberry blue because it has a lot of green in it. So keep looking, and I think that indigo could work, but again, that color is almost close to blueberry blue. So I want to get something that is not as close to blueberry blue. Well, you know, I think indigo might work. It's just a little shade lighter than blueberry blue. So we're going to go with indigo. So let's do blueberry blue, indigo, and we need a light shade. Now I see a couple of light shades here. I see a peacock blue, but again, that one to me has a little bit of green in it. And these two shades are more bluish. They don't have that much green in it. So the color that I think might go well with this is, let's try the periwinkle blue because it's very light and it could be a good highlight color. So let's try that. Let's try blueberry blue, indigo, and periwinkle blue and see what that looks like. So I'll get those colors out. And so I have my colors out now, and we chose blueberry blue, indigo, which is our mid-tone, and we chose periwinkle for our highlight. So I'm just going to write that down here so we can see that that's what this is. Now we have that written here. I've written blueberry blue, indigo, and periwinkle, and I'm just going to color those in. And the only way you can make color combinations is by doing experimenting. Basically, you have to experiment with the colors, and you will learn. Eventually, you do this enough, you will learn what colors look like they go with each other, and won't have to practice so much on a scrap sheet of paper. It'll just automatically come natural to you by just looking at the colors, and you'll start putting together combinations really easily without using so much scrap sheet. So the more you do it, the more practice, and I'm just going in with a light layer here. The more practice you have, the better you'll get at it. It's just about looking at the colors and looking for the same hue of colors that go together. Now, there are color combinations that can go together that are not the same hue. So that is not a rule. But as a beginner, I suggest trying to stay in the same hue and sticking with 3 colors in the beginning. And then adding more colors as you get more advanced. You'll feel more comfortable with having 4 color combos and combos that don't have the same hue. That's more for advanced coloring, and I'm sure we'll get there, and we'll probably do a video with color combinations with 4 or more colors. But for now, I wanted to do something for beginners because That is the main question I have gotten, is how do I know what colors? How do I choose my colors for my coloring pages? I just sit down and I do this. This is basically the steps that I do, and I wanted to, the only way to show you guys how to do that was basically to show you my steps. So this is the indigo blue, the next color, which is our mid-tone, and I'm just adding that in there. And this blue, I'm not really that sure about, because if you, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but because I only have such a light layer, this blue almost has like a little bit of gray in it. And so I'm wondering if this blue is going to throw off our colors. But we're going to go with it, because the only way we'll know is by putting it on paper and seeing what it looks like together. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the periwinkle in the middle, the light tone, which is our highlight. And usually when I put the highlight, I just go ahead and color that in like this. And I just put a very light, and I try to keep the middle a little lighter. So I'm going to add some more layers to that so we can see exactly how these colors look going together. So I'm just going to speed up the video from here. Okay, so that's how this color looks together. And guys, I'm just saying that I don't think that so I'm looking at the blueberry blue, which is the first one, and then the second one is the indigo blue, and then the highlight color is the periwinkle. I feel like the indigo blue is throwing the whole color palette off, because I don't know if you can see it on camera very well, but the indigo blue, now that I'm looking at it, it just does not look like it's in the same in the hue family. It's almost a greenish blue. So I think what I want to do is I want to change that color, the second one, and I want to try a different color, a better color that goes with this blueberry and periwinkle. So let's look at the swatch book again. So we have blueberry blue, indigo, and the indigo is looking kind of greenish, and I'm just not feeling like it's helping that palette out. So, but the periwinkle looks really good with it. So I'm going to choose another mid-tone, and I'm going to try sapphire instead, because sapphire looks like it might go okay with blueberry blue, and sapphire is close enough to periwinkle to where that combination might look better. So let's take out the blue indigo, and we're just going to mark that out because I'm not liking the way that looks. Let's take out the indigo and put in sapphire. So we're going to do blueberry, sapphire, and periwinkle. And this is just the process when you're choosing color combinations. You might get one down that you thought looked good together, but once you got it down, it's just not enough. It's just not enough to me. You see how you can see the difference in the color range here, how you go from dark to mid to light. That's what I want to do. I want to go from dark to mid to light. Here, I feel like it's just two darks. They're both just dark and then a light. So let's try sapphire and see if that changes our color combination. So I'm going to get out sapphire. So now I have here my blueberry, my sapphire, and my periwinkle. And I'm just going to put that in those boxes and see if that color combination is a better popping combination than that, because you want something to jump off the page. And to me, those two blues are so close together that they're not in the same hue. It's almost that this blue is darker than the first blue. So we changed the color, and I'm going to go ahead and just put those colors in there, which is, I'm going with the blueberry first. And like I said, you don't know until you try it. So don't be afraid to play with your colors. I mean, experimenting with your colors is part of the process of making your color combinations. And in other situations, this color may be okay for a certain object on a page, but for me, I'm not liking it. So I'm going to change it. And I'm glad that that happened, because I want you guys to see the whole process of how I do this. And this was a great example of how you go about creating your color combinations. So I'm just laying a light layer of the blueberry in. And then I'm going to add that sapphire, because we chose that instead of that indigo. And so now I'm adding that sapphire again. And that sapphire, automatically I can tell it looks like a different, you can tell a difference in the blue than the other one. So let's see how it turned out once we put all the layers on it. And so when you're blending your colors together, you just want to start out with a light layer, and then you want to build up those colors. So you want to get them to as dark as you can get them, so that you will see how they're going to look on a coloring page. And so now I'm just going to add that highlight, and see how that blue is almost different from that blue. So that makes me happy. So I'm going to add the periwinkle in the middle. And I just want to leave a little bit of a white spot in the middle, just so my colors will pop. And I'm going to speed up the video from here and darken it, add more layers and darken it up some, so you guys can see exactly how it looks. So this is how those colors are looking together. Now, do you see the difference in that than that? This is popping off the page. This not so much, because the two colors were so close together. They were too dark. But this, you have like dimensions. You have a color, and then you have it goes into a different color, then it goes into a different color. So this pops. This is an example of a combination that pops. And that's why all I did was change the middle color from the indigo to the sapphire, and it made a big difference. And so I'm glad we did that, and I'm glad that happened so that you guys can see the whole process of how you do color combinations when you're doing them, the process that you go through with doing them. And so let's move on to the next color combination that we're going to make. So let's do another combo, and I think we're going to look for something in the oranges. So let's turn to the orange page. And these are the reds and the oranges. So I kind of want to do something that goes in the light oranges to the reds. So that would be from here to here. And what I'm looking at for dark tone is vermilion. I like that color. That's a really nice dark tone color. But I'm really liking this blood orange. So let's try this blood orange, which is going to be our dark tone. And now we need a mid-range color to go with this blood orange. And I'm looking, orange looked like it would go great with it, with blood orange. The blood orange has a little bit of red in it. It's reddish orange. So we're going to kind of stay in the orange and yellow since I picked blood orange. But this pumpkin orange, I really like that one because it's a little lighter than the orange one. The orange one is kind of too close to the blood orange. Even though the blood orange has a little red in it, I actually like the pumpkin orange better. So it's just basically what you like and what you're looking for in whatever object you're doing on your page. So my dark tone is going to be my blood orange. My middle tone is going to be my pumpkin orange. Now we need a highlight, and we need something that's going to go with those two colors and kind of give it some pop. And when I say pop, something that looks like it's popping off of the page. You notice it when you see it. You're like, oh wow, that's really, a nice color. The next color that I think that would go good with this orange, with this blood orange and this pumpkin orange, could be yellow orange, or I like this sunflower yellow, because the sunflower yellow has a little more yellow in it, and it's lighter than the pumpkin orange that we chose. And because it's lighter than that and has a lot of yellow in it, it will make these two pop. So let's do those three. We're going to do sunflower yellow, pumpkin orange, and blood orange. Let me get those pencils out. So now I have my colors out, and I also wrote it on the sheet. So we have the blood orange, pumpkin orange, and the sunflower yellow. And we're going to go ahead and put those colors in and see how they look together. Yeah, this color has a lot of red in it. So Red tends to go really well with orange, but you don't want it to be too red, because if it's too red, it's not going to go with the orange in your combo. Just a little bit of red. So I'm just going to put it on both ends of my box. And I'm just shading that in there with a light touch. Just even touch. And I want to get enough on both sides to where I can add my next color. So now I'm going to add my next color, which is our pumpkin sunflower. And you're just going to go right up into the color. You want to go right up into the other color so it can blend. Now, do you see the difference in those two colors? How they look like they just go together, like they belong with each other. And you will get the hang of this if it takes practice. If you just practice it. And what I would do is just sit down, take your set of pencils, and go through your pencils and pick out some combinations and put them in your swatch book like I do. And then you'll always have combinations when you're coloring. You'll have combinations ready to go, and you won't have to do this on a scrap sheet of paper or something. So now I'm going to add that next color, which is our sunflower yellow. And this would be a great combination for a flower. I've done this combination on a flower before, so I thought I would show you guys how I pick my combinations, because the best way to teach is to show the process. A lot of people, I know the best way for me to learn is by doing it and showing me how you did it rather than telling me. And so you see how that yellow just kind of pops off the page there. And so I'm just going to darken up these colors, and we'll see how it looks once it's darkened up. And so I'll speed up the tape from here. And so now we have our combination, and it looks great. And so if the yellow is, the sunflower yellow in the middle is making the two colors pop off the page. And that's an example of how you would want your combination to look. So we're going to move on, and we're going to do one more combination, and then we'll wrap it up. So the next combination, I think we're going to look inside. Let's try to look inside the pinks. And so the pinks are down at the bottom. So let me put my book in position. And so we have, the thing about the pinks is that we have some pinks here. We have like some creams, kind of like pink and some salmon kind of pink. And I think we might have a pink in the back here and here. So we have those two pinks in the back. So let's pick our dark tone. And the dark tone, we're going to be looking down at the bottom at these colors down here. And right away, what jumps out at me is this magenta. So I'm going to choose that as a dark tone. Now, we need a color that will go great with magenta. So if I look at these three, I don't think we want to do these three because they're not in the same hue. They're a lighter hue. And I wouldn't want to do the salmon pink because that's almost like a bubblegum pink. It's not like a reddish like this magenta is. Now the colors that I think when I look at this that will go great with this is like fruit punch is a nice looking color that I think might go with it. But this magenta is more of a, I want to say reddish purple. So I'm thinking plum purple because it has more of a reddish purple in it. Pink purple kind of look. So this plum purple looks a little pink purple also. So let's use that as our mid-tone. Now our light tone, I want something that's gonna make it pop. And I want a lighter tone. And the only lighter tone I see is watermelon or flamingo pink. But we could do magenta, plum purple, and flamingo pink. But I think the thing about that is that I think that the flamingo pink and the plum purple are too close together. So we need something a little lighter. Let me look at our colors again. I like this one. It's really light. I think the peony pink is too dark. So I think the pink macaron would really make it pop. The only thing is that I'm a little concerned that it might not be in the same hue as the purple one, but it still might, as the magenta, but it still might go great because the plum purple is almost looks like that type of pink. So let's try magenta, plum purple, and pink maroon and see how that works. And I'm going to get those colors out. So I have my three colors out, and I just wanted to say something about the magenta. So if you look at this magenta, this barrel does not look like the color we picked. The color we picked is more of a pinkish color in my swatch book. But if you look at the barrel looks burgundy, which would concern me. If I didn't have my swatch book, I would think this was a burgundy color. So that's why it's so important to have a swatch book so you can see the true color and you don't have to mark each and every pencil on a scrap sheet of paper. So the last one that we picked was it's actually called pink macaroni. I called it maroon, but it's also actually called pink macaroni. So I'm hoping that color will go with these three and we'll hope it pop. I know it's a lighter color, but I'm going to take a chance and see. So I'm going to start out with the magenta. move that out the way. I'm just laying this color down, just a light layer at first, and then I'll just build up my colors. And if you're having problems with blending, I have a blending tutorial where I show exactly how you blend your colors together. But I have gone over that with you today also. That you just go in with a light layer, and you want to ease up on the pressure when you get ready to stop so that you can add your next color. So I think I'm going to add a little more over here. And maybe we'll do one more color after this. I'm thinking we should do a purple one, because I haven't done a purple one. So we've done almost every color in the color wheel. Alright, so now I'm going to add the next color, which is plum purple. It depends on how long this video is going, if I'm actually do a purple one. So I'm adding the plum purple. And I'm going to add that to both sides. And I'm just adding a light layer. And I'm going to build up the colors as I go. Now this one, you can also do in a way where we could have laid down the light color first and laid it all over the box and then put the other colors on top. But I decided to keep doing it this way because this is the way I started doing it when I showed you guys. So I don't want to change it up and confuse you guys. So I'm just laying that pink macaroni in the middle, and I'm leaving a little bit of white spot in the middle on purpose because the white spot in the middle helps the color pop a little. So you just kind of want to leave a little bit of white, and you're going to go right up into the other color. And so I'm going to speed up the video so I can add the other layers and we can see how it turns out. And so this is how our color looks, and it turned out great. I like the way the lighter part is in the middle because it kind of makes it pop, and the magenta also helps it a lot because it's a lot darker than the plum purple. So I think this was a successful combination. The next combination, our last combination I think I'll do is just going to be in the purple range. So we're going to look at the purple colors and let's pick out a combo. So let me turn to purples, and as you see, the purples are from here to here. So these are the purples. I don't think it's any on the other page. There's a fuchsia. There's a fuchsia on here, but It's a little purple. I guess you could count that as purple. But we're basically going to focus on these purples here. These ones here. So I want to have a dark tone. Remember, you need your dark tone first. And your dark tone can be basically whatever color you want it to be. It depends on how you want your combination to look and what you're using it for on your coloring page. I'm going to pick amethyst purple. I think that's how you say it. So that's my first dark purple. My dark tone I'll pick. So I need a color to go with that color to help it pop. And I think the color that goes with this is, I don't think purple iris would work, first of all, because it looks like it's a little grayish purple. And this is more like a blue purple. So I think the one below it might work. But, yeah, let's try. I don't want to try lavender because lavender look like it's close, very close to it. And royal purple also look like it's close to it. So I think a shade down would be violet. So let's try amethyst purple and violet. And so now we need a light tone. And we have a light tone right here, right under it, which is lilac. So let's try those three. Amethyst, violet, and lilac. I think that would be a great combination because that's the lightest purple I really see here. Orchid purple is not really that light, and it has a little more pink in it. That would be more of a mid-tone color, not a light tone color. So the lightest color I have here is lilac. It doesn't really have many purples in this set, so it's not much to choose from. But we're going to go with amethyst, violet, and lilac. And so I'm going to get those pencils out for you. And so now I have those pencils out, and here they are. We have our amethyst, our violet, and our lilac. And we're going to lay these down and see what they look like together. So I'm going to start out with the amethyst. And I'm just laying a light layer in there. And I'm putting it on both sides. And I'm going to put a little more on this side, try to make it even. And so now I'm going to go to the next color, which is violet. And I wrote the names down for you. And so you're just going to add that right up into the color, the last color. And so you want to add that. Oh, that's pretty. It's like a grape purple. I like that. So the hardest combinations to do to me is I think purples seem like hard combinations to do, especially in this set, because they don't really have any choices with the purples. But the purples always seem harder to do. But you'll get the hang of it if you just keep trying to do it in practice, and you'll get the hang of it. It'll go slow at first, but eventually you'll get it to the point where you don't really have to use scrap sheet of paper. You just can tell that these colors will look nice together eventually. And so now I'm going to go to the lilac. And I'm just trying to keep a little white area in the middle, because that helps it pop. So remember that when you're doing something on a page, if you could keep a little white area in the middle, you would help your colors pop. White on the page always helps the colors pop. So this purple has like a little pinkish in it or reddish in it. So I'm going to speed up the camera and go ahead and add those layers to this color so we can see how it looks. So this is our color combination, and it turned out beautifully. I love this color combination. I like how it goes from dark and then it goes into a pop color. That is really pretty, and that's how you want your color combinations to pop. A secret I will give you with purple is what I like to do with purple sometimes is blend it with white. And I have my white pencil here, so I'm just going to blend it out and burnish it with white, a white pencil, and to show you how it will look if you add white to purple. I always love the way it gives it a muted color and it gets rid of the tooth in the paper. And so this is just a blending technique that I love to use with any purple combination. Just go over it with a white pencil. And it gives it a muted looking color. And it also smooths everything out. And so you can do that with all the other color combinations too. But I just like the way that it blends it all together and gives it this muted look. Is what it does to it. Now this white in this Arteza set is not as white as my Prisma white. If I would have added my Prisma white on here, you would see a big difference. But you don't see much of a difference with this white. And I actually don't have my Prisma white with me right here now. But this is our color combinations that we have made for today, and I showed you the steps and the process and how to use your swatch book in making them. And color combinations are really, there is really nothing artistic to it. You just pick out colors that you think go well together. And you will get an eye for that if you keep practicing. It always helps to have that swatch book, because that swatch book is, you can see the colors right there next to each other, and you can decide what colors to pick, because you can compare the colors on your swatch book to each other, and they're all laid out right there for you. So that's why you need a swatch book when you're doing your color combinations. And it's always a good idea to write down your color combinations in your swatch book, so that you'll have them there ready for you to go when you're coloring. You don't have to stop and get a scratch sheet of paper and color and practice your swatching or your coloring on a scrap sheet of paper. So this is going to be the end of my tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot here, and I think my next video is going to be taking these colors that we have done here. I will take the same colors and put them on a coloring page and show you how to go about doing that, because that would be your next step, is using it in a coloring book. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a colorful day. Bye.